Lessons 20 to 25 take you outside of the tenses you've already learned and introduce you to the most useful tense in Greek, and that's the aorist. What you've met of the tense system so far is just the present and the imperfect. You've had luor in the indicative, participle luorn, and you've seen that the imperfect augments and has slightly different endings, meaning I untie, untying, and I was untying. And Dobson has characterised all of these as continuous tenses, with all of his dots and dashes to show repeatedness or continuousness. What we've got to think about now is moving beyond that to other ways of talking about action and time. The aorist, both a tense and not a tense. In the indicative, it is a simple past tense. We'll think more about what that means in chapter 21. Outside of the indicative, you will see words such as default, simple, completed, bounded. It's going to depend slightly on the particular mood you're dealing with, possibly prior and sequence. But those are the kinds of words you will see used of the aorist. It's much more about how the action happened rather than when the action happened. Some people will say Greek doesn't really worry about tense, it is only about aspect. Some people will use the term axion sart to refer to that word of how, so the manner of the action. But aspect is the term I will use. This is one of the things that people still argue about massively with Greek. But its basic idea is that it's the simple, bounded, completed, prior or sequential idea of a verb. That's going to mean something slightly different for each mood. So we're starting with the participle and we'll build in other moods as we meet them. Examples may be the easiest way to demonstrate this. You've met the following 3 examples. Dobson gives you a few more, but I'm not going to include all of the irregular ones. Lege, he says. Archetai, he begins. Proskynousin, they worship. You haven't met the form of archetai yet, because those are middle verbs, but you will eventually. Apen, he said. Archetai, he began. Prosykonersan, they worshipped. So what you've got here is simple past tense. It's something that's happened in the past. Applying that to participles, think first about form. You've seen the present, luon, luusa, luon, luonta, luusan, luon, luontos, luonti, luuses, luuse, luontos. I've only put the singular in because I'll put all the endings for these up on Canvas. The present are up on chapter 19. I'll put the aorist up on chapter 20. So this is for demonstration purpose rather than for completion's purpose. For the aorist, if you look back at the indicative, apen is irregular. They're just 2 different words. And one of the things you have to get used to in Greek is the irregularity. If you look at these 2 though, you will see there is a sigma alpha hidden in that stem, joining the main verb to the ending. That sigma alpha is going to be your aorist marker. So you can have a sigma alpha in all the way through. After that, it remains a 3-1-3 adjective. So your masculine and neuter endings are third declension, your feminine are first declension. Sas, and the genitive stem changes again to santos, which means you now know what the rest are going to be. Santa, Santi, san, san, santos, santi. And for the feminine, you've actually got the same endings as in the present, but you changed from u to sa as your stem. That sa is replacing the u. Lusasa, lusasan, lusases, lusase. It does mean you've now got sa, sa in a lot of them, sigma alpha, sigma alpha. So the feminine participles can look a little bit weird because they get that double sa in them. But it also means that you've got to be careful not to mix up, for example, lusan with lusasan. So the aorist participle is very similar in the neuter and the feminine there, but the feminine's got the extra sa. How do you translate these? Having untied. So in English, you need the auxiliary verb. That's your basic introduction to aorist participles. The point is that they are prior to the main action. So you might in good English say after for the aorist, where you said while for the present. While walking in the garden, I was talking to my friend. After I went into the house, I got something to eat. The while ones are present, the after ones are aorist.